Hi, I'm Carcino.
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. What's good? Let's talk about it. Here's what the problem in the scenarios are. When people are dealing with scenarios and different problems, they really can't get out of their way and understand real business. Dame is normally doing business on a what they would call a low tier level. Not to us, to them. He's low tier. They're not worried about what Dame Dash do, or they're not like what Dame do don't threaten them. He's very low tier. He wants to create his own content lane. That's cool. But you're doing it at a level where you're pretending as if you're still this master mogul guy who did all these things. And yes, Dame Dash was tremendous at being a trailblazer in his time. But in this new wave, in this new era, they consider him low tier. There's a bunch of nobodies bigger than him right now in the game. And the thing is, he didn't have to be. His ego kept him there. His ego is still keeping him there. And it's unfortunate, but we understood what was going on. And as long as he had that Rock Nation percentage, he could leverage deals, get loans. He could do a lot of different things with that position. And he didn't want to give it up because that was the last stronghold that he really had in the game. That'd be like, it's not comparable, but that's like Diddy giving up the Bad Boy catalog. He done already took out so many bad loans because of it. Keep getting advances off monies as long as people get to use it. And that, Biggie and Lil Kim and all that old Puffy records with Mace and all them, like those songs are timeless. So you're gonna continuously make money off of it. Now, how many times are you gonna see a person who was in a position like Dame Dash lose that position again? There's several reasons why everybody jumped to conclusions and they look at the scenarios that they faced in and they start making changes like right away, like really quick, lightning fast. So the scenarios, they don't usually mesh with one another. So you have all of these different like Karens and all these people who come in and make up stuff as they go along. It gets crazy out there. So what you really want is to maintain your perception of reality and what's real and what's fake in this game. These people out here, they don't really care about your position. They don't care about who you know. They don't care about what you love. They coming for your heart, no matter what. Jay-Z is gonna end up getting that other percentage that Dame had for Rockefeller. You don't have to sell it to me. I'm gonna end up getting it anyway. Because whoever wins the auction, I'm gonna get it, and then it's gonna revert back to me in some sort of way because of the rights of the owner. So I'll buy the rights, whatever happens when it goes up for auction, and that is it. Now, this is gonna pay off Dame Dash's outstanding debt is from the lawsuit, which was based off ego. And people's ego could cost them positions. Jay's got Biggs half, and Biggs is in Rock Nation, eating. Dame could have been eating. Jay circled back to Dame to test him out. He circled back to him to see, was he still the same Dame? Was he able to evolve and move forward? Or was he still stuck in the old 2000 Rock Nation era? I mean, Rockefeller, and he was. They met, and it was supposed to be love and all that, and he revert back to the same thing. And once Jay saw that, he knew I can't be around Dame no more. He can't. Biggs even told him, like, man, if you just played your position, man, you good. Like, we eating over here for real. Like, we ain't gotta worry about nothing over here. You would be here. But if you look at what they equated and what they were able to create for everybody else around them, as far as getting them into a position to have a better life, would it be ideal for you to partner with something like that? Now, I understand Dame being a creative mind. When you created something, you always think you could create something again or create something better or just say, not necessarily just better, but on a whole different scale. You want to believe I've created something that's genuine and people are going to want to go out and achieve it or possess it. You want that. You want that feeling. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want that to be ideal? I don't know a single human being that wouldn't want that. Especially when you somebody who said, I built this from the ground up and I could do it again. But see, it's easy to do when nobody is looking at you and you ain't got anybody checking for you or anything like that. But it all takes relationships to happen. And once you sever those ties of relationship because of ego and pride, you can't move forward. Then you're compromising yourself. And you don't want to be in that position. Everybody who owed him a favor, he didn't use that favor and burnt that favor up. It's only so many favors people gonna be able to do for you because now they really don't owe you. Kanye and them, you'd have used those favors up. He don't owe you. He gave you the money to help you finish your movie. And then he put up the merch for the movie. And he was making money off the merch. Dame was a brilliant mind. Still is a brilliant mind. And I feel he would thrive in this media space. But I have a hard time believing that the mainstream guys that are gonna cut him a deal would cut him a deal because they would have to deal with Dame, and that I just feel that they don't want to deal with him. They wanted to deal with him because they know, man, he generates content. He's gonna generate this. He's gonna generate that. But then that's gonna die off because Dame is gonna happen. What I mean, Dame's gonna happen. Dame's gonna start arguing about control. He's gonna start arguing about this and that. Then he's gonna start talking about other things and other ventures outside of hip hop, which is cool. Like Dame has never been somebody that was tied into one thing. Dame was like involved in many different facets of the business, like art, and like he introduced really Jay into art. Like Dame was already in the art way before Jay was. He was involved in it heavy. So for anybody to doubt Jay's position, that wouldn't make any sense. A lot of people had like several fetishes or what you would call residuary positions that other people just didn't see, and that was on them. But it's getting to a point now where a lot of people are they just tired of the same old rendition. Remember when Suge came out with the "Hey, I Dave Mays," and him and Dave Mays did these Suge Knight interviews from prison, and after about 5 interviews, it was done. Like it was redundant at that point. Suge had basically gave them almost everything he knows. So it's like, okay, the guy's been incarcerated for a large part of time. So mostly everything he's talking about is pretty much dated. Other guys who's been outside could really talk. Like he was locked up from 96 into like 2000 or so before he came home. So they locked Suge up for all that time. He was all out of the scene. So by the time he came home in the new millennium, he was out for a little bit to like 2014, 2015, and then he was right back in jail. So you looking at a situation where people are not allowed to have a position or get right because the people around them won't allow them to get right. People around them can't get right if the people around them isn't right. So you have to start taking things into consideration. That Suge ain't been around. And he's been off the scene since 2015. So he's been locked up since then. So he's already then spent about 10 years almost in prison. Now, you start to ask yourself, how much information on anything relevant within the last 10 years he's going to have a lot of information on. Everything he knows is what somebody's telling him in jail, while he's locked up. So it's dated. A lot of the stuff with Dame, like, he's not been engulfed a lot in the hip hop world, like, lately. Like, he spent a lot of years trying to go into art, entertainment, other creative spaces because that time is over. You don't want to be that 50, 60-year-old dude trying to get off on hip hop when Dame didn't rap. Dame was he was the face. He was the guy who was in the meetings, a smart guy. But when you get to a position where you're just overly disrespectful, and you're an a-hole for no reason sometimes, and you might have rubbed some people the wrong way in this business, that stuff come back tenfold, and then people don't want nothing to do with you. But Dame gave a lot of opportunities to a lot of people. He wanted to get into a lot of spaces and do it his way, no matter what. And it's hard for people like that who want to do it their way to conform to what's new, what's the idea, what's the angle, what are we doing today. It's hard for them. And because that's hard and that's become a challenge, you got people that's stuck. And long as they stuck in that position, they can't really maneuver like they want to. Jay gave him a chance to get back with Rock Nation. But Dame, he knows what I know. See, Jay knows that I can't be around Dame no more. Like he's outgrown that. Not saying that him and Dame won't have some great relationships, but he already know what he's seeing. What he see. It's like Irv Gotti. He gave Irv a chance. And he took it. Irv Gotti took it, and that was that. Irv took the position and said, hey, I know my position. He's like, all right, now I gave you this, the rest is on you. That's on you now. So, like, I walked you through the door. Like, I don't owe you nothing no more. Like, we done. So now, if you fail, don't say I didn't do nothing for you. And the reason why Jay did that, because he realized he stood back quietly and let what happened to him happen today. I mean, the Irv guy, when Irv never crossed him. See, he sat back and got cleared his whole office. Nobody showed up. And then the raid came and they raided Irv Gotti. Came and got him. And put him through an expensive multi-million-dollar trial for no reason. Irv thought when it first happened, this is a good way to sell records. So he was ice grilling for the cameras as they was bringing them in. It was the worst thing that ever happened to him. But now, since he had all the masters to those songs, he felt empowered that he can get ready to do a deal, break bread with his artists. But it's only so much you can do now. Ja had been sold his percentages for like 2 million. Had he held out for a better position, he'd have got 10 times that now. At the minimum. Now, you had other people who came and made different decisions and went in a different path, but you never heard anything back from a lot of these guys. Now, it's a lot of people in this game that rap and they try to make their money and move forward and go in the direction that they want to go in. But then you have people who are what you consider stuck in their ways. They have no inclination about what's evolving, what's what's devolving in the situation. They just want to go in another direction that is beneficial to them and what it is that they represent. They don't care about someone else's position. See, Jay knows I can't be with Irv Gotti. I'm not gonna be around that. I helped him, and I'm done. I don't have to be around Irv no more. Now, if Irv is successful and get up to where I'm at and my to where my status is, then cool. I could be around Irv. But other than that, no, I don't. I can't be around that energy anymore because Irv is reverting back to being the Irv Gotti he was before, and then the money now that he got a little back, he's reverting back to that. Dame Dash, if you give Dame Dash a little bit of that money back, he still got that ego right now. Can you imagine if Dame made another $100 million business, another 200, $300 million business again? Like Dame is good for making those businesses and getting them up and running, and then it dissolves because he doesn't know how to keep it. Because it takes relationships, it takes knowing how to manage it. It's easy to get it started because there's no expectations. But once you get to the point where there's expectations and benchmarks and all of that, then it's a whole different game. Maintaining something is going to be a lot harder than creating it. And when people realize that, then you're in a whole new space, a creative zone where your mind's got to be sharp and on at all times, clicking. If it's not, then you're basically perishing away. I've never seen anybody hold down any relationships with people that they didn't like. To me, it's very hard to hold down a relationship with people you don't like, especially when you're supposed to be close to them. Dame can't get. I mean, Jay can't be close to Dame and be like the little guy again because Jay is not loud. He's now the big boss. Could you imagine him in a room with Dame again? Dame would be making him feel small, and Dame would be over talking him and everything else. And that's not what Jay wants to appear to be now. He's grown into a boss. So it's like, look, I'm the boss now. You're not my equal. You're not. We're not on the same level. Like I'm the boss. You're under me. And there's no way Dame could live with that. There's no way Dame could live with being under Jay. It's just his ego wouldn't allow that. Biggs don't care. He getting a chance to eat, so Biggs don't care. But there's no way Dame is gonna, you know, be okay with that. I mean, to Dame could talk about what he want to talk about on this podcast show. I'm not wishing disdain on Dame at all. Dame is a smart man. I just I hope and pray that his ego don't trip him up. His ego needs to stop tripping him up because every time he get up the ladder, something like that happens, and next thing you know, ego happens, and there it is. And now it's like people are dropped down to a new reality, and things don't seem to be functioning the way they supposed to be functioning and moving in the direction they supposed to be. So if you know that, then you know that there's scenarios that's in play that don't go along with the ideal perception of what people see of you. Like this is how 50 Cent was able to survive. It's like how does 50 stay relevant without putting music out? Because he got in another space and he humbled himself. He took the low money and said, "All right, I'm gonna do this deal." And even though 50 wasn't the boss, he wasn't the boss at Stars. He was the bigger name. It's Courtney Kemp's project. Fifth got he partnered with these people and he marketed as if it's his. Whenever Fifth is a part of something, he marketed like it's mine. I own it. Like so everybody knows like let 50's got the name, he's gonna market it, it's gonna take off. And he knew I'm not gonna outshine Eminem. If I outshine Eminem, then what's that gonna do for me? Now I'm gonna create an enemy who was the guy that gave me the opportunity. And I'm thinking it's all good because he's gonna like I'm shining bigger than him, and and he's right side by side trying to find a way to destroy me because I didn't surpass him. So 50 is a follower of the 50 rules of power. So he's not gonna bend or break because he knows how to be a boss in his own space, even though he has masters. He knows how to pivot in those rooms where his ego don't trip him up and he can still remain himself. That's why when you see stuff like Power Book 2 canceled or Stars mistreating 50 and you see 50 snap it out, it's because he's not really the boss of the network, but he's generated billions for Stars. They've made billions. So the little bit of coin that they were paying out, they made mountains amount in as far as revenue. Like they beat out Showtime. Stars had beat out Showtime based on black content. Stars wouldn't even put out black content. They had Encore. Encore was their channel. They showed all their black programs on. So if you had Stars back in the day, you had to get Stars Encore because Encore, that's the one that would give you like all. They was playing the Jeffersons and Sanford and Son and stuff. Like they were playing all the content just for black viewership, black movies. Other than that, you couldn't see black programming on like HBO or Showtime. You had to be up at 3 in the morning and you'll see, it'd be like at 3 in the morning, I'm gonna get you sucker come on. Just so they can say they ain't racist. They put on these movies that you would love to see. You be coming in from the club and you turn on the TV, you be, oh snap! Hey, they got on Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. It be on at 2, 3 in the morning, but they aired it. So that's how the programming was, and the black dollar was fading away because there was nothing on television black people wanted to watch. So they watched the games, and that's it. And white people at one point just stopped making black sitcoms. They had gotten everything they wanted out of it. So Stars, who had nothing but Encore, saw a deal they could make with 50, bring him in as a partner to get some black content on Stars on their main show. and not encore. So when they thought they was gonna get a series, they thinking, okay, 2, 3 years, it'll probably fade away. They had no idea Power was gonna be the biggest show they've ever had. I knew. 50 knew. I could see it. I said, if 50's gonna do this show, it's gonna be authentic. It's gonna be right. It's gonna make sense. And whenever the writers is in the room, they needed correction on something. Fifth could correct it. And that's what made the first Power. It was very well written. The first 2 seasons. The first 2 seasons were gold. Then it started to deviate from season 3 on down. It started to get a lot weaker. You're introducing characters that don't make any sense. You're just bringing people on just to have them whacked. And the writing fell off, and the wheels fell off the program. Now, if you look at all of that together, you put that in one big bottle, and you realize I could have made this a hit. I could have really made this rock. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the Patreon, we're going to talk a little bit more about, expand on this situation, about why Dame can't get back to where he's at. And he's going to have to humble himself in order to do it. Because there were some key pieces I left out. And we're going to go through that on the Patreon. So thank you guys for listening. Shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life, Ticket TV, Dreamers Pro. Welcome to HDII TV, Jag Sports with Jose Rodriguez, The Star Report. Man, everybody out there who's creating 78 Sports TV, Blood Boxing, D-Style Boxing. There's so many of y'all out there. It's mind blowing. Thanks for everybody who donated to my Cash App, which is Carceno, Karceno. I appreciate the love and support. So make sure y'all keep on keeping on. All right? Appreciate you. From the bottom of my heart, I'm out.